Can you still trust me?
There's nobody else I'd rather share this moment with.
Again, welcome, Gigi Saul Guerrero. This is for HorrOrigins. I'm very excited. Guerrero is my mother's family name, so
Oh,
it's
really?
just like very like hey.
Yay.
Very excited about it. But I always I wanted to say first of all, congratulations on your latest film, Mistress of Bones, which had its premiere yesterday for Crypt TV. So congratulations on that. Amazing
Thank
job.
you so much.
So how does it feel to have a premiere in the middle of a pandemic?
You know what? I think I was more nervous
Yeah.
than I have like at a festival or something like that. But it was at first nerve-wracking, but I had such a wonderful time being with my family during
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to do that before. Usually, I will fly to the festival and I'll be there and then I'll show them pictures. And this time it was just, at home in our pajamas, relax.
Yeah.
And we got to be together during it. And it was a blast. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a
I
complete experience. It's so different. We're just
completely.
talking to a lot of filmmakers who are, they're not getting to have the big premieres, or they're having to forego Cannes and
Yes.
Sundance and things like that, and having it be like this more grounded and holistic experience where they're like, I'm not
Exactly.
mad at it.
No, exactly. And I think, it was insane how many people can watch it because it is a
Right.
virtual event. Everybody had access to it.
Yeah.
So the amount of people that tuned in on the time that it came on at 1 p.m.,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe there was 4,000 people watching.
Yeah.
And like that's unheard of at a festival. The most you'll get at a festival sold out is, I don't know, 400, 500,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's like a big deal. So this was like, oh my God, there's so many people watching. So, and in this case, it's kind of like you said, it's just such a different
Yeah.
experience that with everybody being able to watch your work, that's the most humbling, I think.
Yeah.
That's why you make
Absolutely.
it, right? So during
Yeah.
the pandemic, I'm so grateful.
And it's
Yeah.
just been really strange. How are you faring through lockdown? How are you
Oh,
doing?
girl, I don't
Tell it.
even know.
Give it to me.
Yeah. No, look, at first, I was, confused, but I was always like, nah, it'll be over. But,
Yeah.
we did take it pretty seriously at home, and I was ready to move out. I was like, I'm gonna turn 30. This is the year I move out, which
This is
is
my
like
time.
right, it's my time, which people don't understand. Like in Latino families, hey, we stay till we're married,
Yep.
like literally, right? So,
Hmm.
so I was like, this is my year. I'm gonna move out. I was like ready to just get myself a place. And same with my sister. And and then everything happened, and we're like, well, mom, pop, we're gonna stay a little longer, you know.
Right?
So that was pretty funny. And hey, like, I don't lie when I say this house gets really loud because we're
Yeah.
loud Latinos, and
Uh-huh.
we're all of us are fighting for some privacy and like the controller. So we've had to, work out some stuff so we don't,
Work
you
out
know,
some boundaries and differences and
exactly. So we don't, strangle ourselves.
right.
But it's been nice. Like, I think I've been away filming for so long that
Yeah.
this actually made up all the time I've been away.
Yeah.
Um, has been this year. So if we can find ways to look at it positively,
Sure.
then everything's okay, for
How has
sure.
it been for your creative space? Is it
Yeah.
more internal? We're turning more intrinsically to ourselves on that aspect?
No, creatively it's been awesome because it's
Yeah.
allowed me to look back at old projects like Mistress of Bones, the short film that came out. This was an idea we had a year or two ago, and
Mhm.
we never had time. We never were able to even think about it. And so during this time, it's good to look back at old scripts or old ideas,
Yeah.
read other
Really.
people's work.
Yeah.
And this room that I'm in, this incredible voice booth,
Yeah.
was one of the quarantine projects my best friend and I wanted to do.
Hmm.
Because I was like, well, buddy, I don't know when I'm gonna direct again,
Right.
but
Don't know what I'm gonna be.
right, but a guarantee is the voice acting will still be a
Sure.
thing. So that's what I do a lot here in Vancouver, but that paid off right away because I was like, well, I guess that's how I'll make a living is through voice
Yeah.
work, and
I mean, audio content's going to be huge because
it's
who
been
knows when we're going to
huge.
have access to each other again. It's very, very
It's
strange, but
it's
it's
been
also
strange.
maybe,
Yeah,
it just puts something else in our consciousness, which is really interesting.
for sure.
Yeah, as a genre screenwriter myself, I always like to reach out, especially to women. I'm also in a women-led horror collective. There's 20 deep of us who are writers and DPs and just 100% female. And I always just like to ask, what was your first jump into horror? Like, what was your first love? All of us were
Yeah.
too young, which I think
So
is a good thing.
I think that's a great thing. Well, I'd say it's two different times in my
Okay.
life. So I grew up in like the house, like where my family
Hmm.
is not only super Mexican, but very religious, especially on my mom's side. So you can
Hmm.
only imagine,
Yep.
everything is the devil. So
Yep.
like I was like not, yeah,
That's my story too.
yeah, I was just not allowed to watch anything scary, nothing
Hmm.
violent. And coming from Mexico City, like you look at the newspaper that you can just grab off the street and it's a very graphic front
Yeah.
page of people dead or stuff like
Hmm.
that. So, you know, we have the sense of not just a lot of spirituality in our traditions, but we look at it differently, death differently. And coming from a third world country, you're
Hmm.
already kind of living in a space of not fear, but your mentality towards a lot of it is very different. And
Yes.
so for my mom, like she was always just so concerned that I would see all these things, and I would just be so curious, why is she hiding all this from me?
Hmm.
and and just growing up in a house that was so Catholic, and like even as much as like putting your purse on the floor, my mom be like, "Oh, the devil took your money." No, like el diablo. No,
And all that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like
Don't
it's
put your shoes on the table.
exactly. So that's the kind of house I came from. Like you spill the salt, ooh, put over your shoulder, cuz
Yep.
honey, you know. So growing up, I blame my mom. I got into horror because how much she kept me away from it. And my
Right.
my curiosity, the kind of person that I am, I totally fall into that category of people that get obsessive over the forbidden fruit.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with horror too, because you're watching things that you're not really you don't really experience in real life
Hmm.
personally, and when you watch it with other characters, like you get a sense of it. It's like a thrill. So so when I was about 8, I well, Mexicans, we don't steal, we borrow for a long
Right.
time. I
That.
borrowed I borrowed a VHS cassette at Blockbuster of Chucky, of Child's Play 2. It was Child's Play 2.
Oh,
So,
no.
because I would always walk down the horror aisle,
Right.
like to be looking at all the covers and be like, "What is this that she's not letting me see?"
Hmm.
So I borrowed it. I took it, didn't tell anybody, and that was my first experience. Was Child's Play 2, and I wanted that one because I couldn't understand why there was a doll cutting another doll's head. To me,
Right.
that was like, holy shit, like what is it? Like I just couldn't
Going down in
understand.
doll land.
Yeah. And so, to not make the story too long, like I watched it, and that was the first time I felt fear.
Yeah.
But what I love about that experience so much, that I use it for inspiration, is that I never knew a movie could follow you home. I never knew a movie could
Right.
feel so present
Hmm.
beside you, and I knew for a fact Chucky was in the closet. I
For
was like,
sure.
why do I feel him, that I know
Hmm.
he's there? And so that, to me, ever since that experience, when I watched The Exorcist, when I watched, just before film school, I was watching uh new directors I never heard before, like Rob Zombie and Adam
Mhm.
Wingard. And I was like, whoa, like I started expanding this universe, and I got super excited that there was also Mexican directors like Robert Rodriguez and
Yep.
Guillermo del Toro. And I was like, oh my God, there's more of them. So
Yeah.
it's always been important to me to remember that first experience of how a movie can feel so present, and it could follow you home.
Yeah.
That I always think about that.
That's such a refreshing way to put it, because when you think about horror like that, like drama doesn't do that, comedy doesn't have you going, what was that?
Yeah.
What's that? Or having you like double check, having you sprint to the bathroom in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
like nothing, like no other genre does that. And it definitely
Mm-mm.
changes something in your subconscious to
Yes.
be very defensive, and sometimes offensive, just to kind of protect yourself. But there's
Yeah.
nothing like that feeling. There's nothing else that does
Nothing.
that for you, which is amazing. And I think that's a beautiful way to put it. That's absolutely a wonderful way to put it. When watching these directors and getting into film school, what was that spark to where you're like, I have to go to film school, I have to figure out how to do this?
Yeah, no. Well, the movie that made me want to go to film school was Children of Men by Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I
Wow.
said before, like I didn't know, even growing up, I was going to be a director. I just loved horror movies, loved comedies. I just was a crazy kid, like I just loved stuff like that, but my maturity wasn't quite there. I'd never seen a movie like that.
Hmm.
And the reason I saw that movie is because I found out that my sister was going on a date with some guy she was going on a date with. And I was with my friends, and I'm like, yo, let's crash her date. Because
Cold-blooded.
I know, because I'm the worst. I'm possibly like the winner of most annoying little sister award. It goes to me. Yeah.
Top prize.
Top prize. So we totally crashed it. She was super mad, but the movie they went to see was that.
Okay.
And I, instead of like bothering them, throwing them the popcorn, I just got so captivated by this movie. And I was like, what is this? And it just,
Yeah.
I've never seen a movie like Children of Men before. I was only 16, I think,
Hmm.
15 or 16. And it just felt so close to the real world. And coming out of that movie, gosh, I hated humanity. I hated what we're
Hmm.
capable of. And I thought
Yeah.
this was not a horror, but it was close to a real life horror, and
Disturbing. Yeah.
disturbing. And I'd never seen anything like that. And that night I remember perfectly, the guy she was on a date with, he was a film student. And he said to me,
Gotcha.
well, that's the stuff I study at school. I was like,
No shit. Like, I don't want to
yeah,
get into this.
yeah, pretty much. I looked at him very seriously. I was like, you study movies in school? He's like, yeah, it's called film school. And I was like,
No way.
what? Like I never, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm learning how to do cool oneers like this guy. And did you know that he's Mexican? And you should check out the other Mexican directors like Iñárritu and Guillermo del Toro. And
Guillermo.
yeah.
I'm done.
But I remember I was like, I said it out loud. And I was just a teenager. I was like, he's Mexican. Like, I was like, what? Like, to me it was, I've never felt that of
Yeah.
excitement. And I felt like if they can do it, I want to do that too. And I went
Yeah.
home and I was like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to film school. I just, from there, everything changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You lost your mission though. You forgot the mission once you got there.
Oh yeah, completely. Mission failed. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Luchagore Productions and like just
Yeah.
its infancy and then where it is now. I mean, as a woman in genre, were there any obstacles in building that prod co, or any pushback on what you could and couldn't do, or any limitations that were thrust upon you based just for being a woman in genre?
Yeah. No, well, I have to say, like, I feel that I got very lucky in the start of my career, and just right after film school, the two guys that I work with that co-founded Luchagore, one of them went to my school, and then Rainer, who produces, he went to our rival film school. But those two guys, ever since we started working together, they've always looked at me as an equal. It's not even as
Perfect.
Gigi, well, because she's a girl. No, not even. It's just they have believed in me and I've believed in them. And there's just been this easy equality since the beginning. And I feel I got super lucky with that.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of my peers, a lot of filmmaker lady friends that have yet to find even a partner to go through with them. And to me, I got very lucky. However, though, you know, when we started Luchagore, we definitely had a very niche kind of voice. Like we wanted to do a lot of Latin twisted stories, a lot of viral videos, and it was really hard at first. And we did notice me as the director was not being taken seriously a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And however, with guys like Rainer and Luke by my side, they kept trying to put ideas together. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do this. Let's do that. It was never, well, Gigi, we should switch things. No, it wasn't even a thought ever to switch what we are all good at. And that's really important because it taught me right away early on to stick to my guns. Because as a Latina, we're very sensitive, crazy beasts.
Right.
You know,
I can confirm.
Yeah. So, you know, we can be chingonas, but we can also be chillonas at the same time, right?
Yes.
So it definitely, I learned that real quick of that it is okay to stick to my gut on what I want to do. And we just kept going, and we ended up, I think in a matter of 4 years, we've made about 4 or 5 years, we've made about 16 short films.
I love
And
that.
that's a lot. But
it is. Yeah.
each one kept being more and more elevated, even though they were low budget. We made them all with whatever resources we had. Each one was either becoming a viral hit, or it was getting picked up. Like Crypt TV, for example, we were the first filmmakers for them when they started, when they didn't even have an office. We were the first ones to get together with them, like years ago, years. So we go way back. But it's kind of that motivation that has helped my career land where it is today, that we just did not stop with content. But we were careful, you know, at Luchagore to be like, to give our brand, but not only to promote what Luchagore is as a brand, but promote that anybody can do it. Promote that indie filmmaking is awesome, that it's okay. You don't need insane budget. You just need your content out. So that really helped. However, you know, to finish your question, after all those 4 years of short films, of nonstop, it was getting very obvious that I was not being given the opportunities as a director for features, for series. It was a very hard decision that I took, to not leave Luchagore, but to be right back. I said, I don't know what it is, guys. We have the work. We have good short films. Nobody wants to give us that chance. And so I just bit the bullet and I said, I'm going to go to LA. I'm going to see what I can do. And then I'll come back and we'll continue as Luchagore. And that's exactly what I did. And, you know, I just recently just through short films, I got a manager and an agent. And I just told them, hey, I'm coming to LA. Get me meetings. That's it. Just get me meetings. I want to meet people. And they're like, okay. Blumhouse was the first general meeting I got. And that was the first feature I got too. So it really was worth taking a risk. I went to LA and I was sleeping at friends' couches. You know, I just went for it. I said, Mom, Dad, I'll be back when I have something. And I just went. I just straight there, and it worked. So that's pretty cool. And now that I've been back, you know, I came back with a feature debut with Blumhouse, Culture Shock on Hulu. And then I directed The Purge right after that, the series, and then pandemic. I'm just kidding.
Womp, womp.
But then, but that taking that risk was so worth it, because now that I've been back, I called up the Luchagore team and I was like, well, guys, let's make a short. Let's get back together and make something, because it's, and I like that this kind of team, they're not the kind to wait around. They kept themselves busy. We just put Luchagore on hold a little bit while we all continue to grow, because we're straight out of film school too. I'm still newish to the business. And yeah, Luchagore for me is a dream of a company to continue, and I think it's filmmaking's been the place for me to be able to express my love to where I'm from and stay close to my roots.
That's beautiful. No, and I think that the drive, I mean, it just speaks to who you are as a director and who you are as a person. The drivers that really keep you going is just really doing, speaking to, your heritage, speaking to just, really getting to the crux of the story and really telling amazing stories in very little time, and then being able to expand on that with features and given that opportunity. I think it's amazing. So I'm really excited that the journey is awesome. I do want to touch on culture shock. I know there was a little pushback that you gave with there not being true enough to the heritage of the script. And we see that a lot, in scripts where you can tell that there was not one person of this ethnicity ever consulted on this script, and people kind of went wherever they wanted, and, actors that are playing outside of their realm with things. What was that conversation like to get culture shock on the track it needed to be?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Even for me, still approaching that story when I first read it, coming from a place of only short films, I'm younger than the other guys going for it, female, So for me, I was very nervous in my first couple auditions to be that honest of how much I just was not finding the script at its perfect, level.
Yeah.
And it took me like 4 auditions in general, or overall, not general, sorry, 4 auditions overall to get the job. But it was around, the third time that I just kind of felt, you know what, I have to be honest. It needs a lot of work, but this is what I can offer. And that seemed to do the trick. I should have known. Always tell the truth. I should have known.
That's policy.
Yeah, that's policy. But you go in hungry that you want the job, and I didn't really know that feeling yet. I was very green still at the time, and now I know that honesty is very appreciated. And now that there's this whole room being open for diversity, new voices, and now is really the time to be so transparent about it all.
Absolutely.
And yeah, culture shock. I think the writers did a really creative and awesome story, but it was just missing that Mexico lindo heart. Was missing those sensibilities that I have, even myself as an immigrant to Canada, and what it's like to experience 2 very different worlds. And living in Mexico, although my family and I would come from, an upper class, I do see the struggle still of what it's like to live in a third world country and what it's like to want a better life. So that message of wanting a better life, I wanted it to be clear that everybody deserves that, no matter your situation, and that everybody has a very different story as to why to do it. So it was important to really create these characters that are also different, from Marisol, wanting to cross, although pregnant and had an awful backstory that wasn't quite there before. Santo, the tatted guy, he has to leave for very dangerous reasons. And even it was important to add a Guatemalan little boy, because they too have to even cross through Mexico and then get to the bush. So it's like, it's very different. So it was exciting to be trusted in that, and even more of a win that with a few battles, of course, but huge win that the movie is 50% in Spanish.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very big accomplishment. And I'm just so happy that Blumhouse and Hulu took that risk. And hopefully soon I don't have to say, let's take that risk. It's just let's just do what's good for the story. you know.
And do you feel like those doors are opening up more where we're hopefully with this diversity standpoint, it's going to be less of a struggle, or do you see that there's still going to be certain
Yeah.
roadblocks from certain angles?
Yeah, I think we still have a lot of room for that change,
Mhm.
but I'm just so happy how much more consideration for new voices there is. Because I think
Yeah.
it's these new voices that are, uh, if you will, breaking borders.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I still think, it still needs to change. And I'm starting to feel, I'm glad there's a recognition. However, it's at times still feeling forced. Oh, we have to have a Hispanic or
Yeah.
Latinx voice. Oh, we
Ticking the
have to
box.
have, yeah, we have to have a female black girl. That we have, like, it
Mhm.
shouldn't. Hopefully, it'll get to the point where it's just the right person is
Mhm.
for the part, and regardless of your color, your gender, anything. That's the goal.
Mhm.
But I think it's our
Hands down.
yeah, I think it's our responsibility as the fresh voices and the diverse ethnic voices to challenge audiences. If we don't do it, then the audience who we're making it for, they're not gonna push for change. So we really have to keep working hard and take it as a responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this pandemic where we have more accessibility to all of the global stories that are out there.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
no, I mean, Hollywood and expansive on Hollywood. There's no, there's no barrier really anymore. There's not say, well, you can't make
Correct.
it all the way out to LA. We can't take this story. We can't. So I'm interested in to see what changes and steps they're going to make to follow through on
Mhm.
that, because there's too much rich story globally out there for us to not pay attention right now.
100%. I think this pandemic has allowed, in a way, for filmmakers and studios to realize you don't have to be in LA. Look what we're doing, you and me right now. Like, we're
Right?
doing it through Zoom, and
Just
and
two gals.
it's just two gals, right? So the industry now is changing, that you can consider a lot of voices from all over
Hmm.
the world now, and you can do it as simple as through a virtual call.
Yeah.
And so I think, we're on the right path for change, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm Mistress of Bones. I love, first of all, I loved it. I
Yay.
thought it was so in that 10 minutes, I just felt myself like getting closer and closer and closer to the computer. It was
Oh,
very interesting. It
good.
was very captivating for me. And you explore a lot of Aztec mythology there.
Yes.
And that folklore and all of the folklore and the history that's available to us within that. Is there any story that you've worked on that's in the past that you can't get off the ground yet, or any piece of folklore that you really want to bring to the screen that you haven't
Oh
quite yet?
man, I'm in love with El Coco, right? The Cucuy,
Yeah.
or like the boogeyman of ours,
Hmm.
is terrifying.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's gonna be a movie that comes out before I do one, but that's been one that I've shared, I've pitched, and still, just the fact that it's a boogeyman, it hasn't quite attracted the idea. But I think after seeing, a little whitewashed, but after seeing movies like La Llorona and stuff like that,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that it's gonna open up to this folklore,
Yeah.
from, the Hispanic heritage, but hopefully it's gonna open it up to be closer and closer to what it should be. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
Because I remember seeing La Llorona and I was like, "What's La Llorona doing in LA to that lady?" Right? I was like, "What's she
Hmm.
doing there?" Yeah, that's too funny. But man, El Coco was terrifying to me as a kid, and my grandma would use that against me
Hmm.
all the time, and
Yep. Stay in bed.
she would always use los duendes, or the aluches, the trolls,
Hmm.
those little fuckers. Those
Tell them.
little, yeah, you tell 'em. But those would scare me, because I don't know if you remember or if you know of them, but in
Mhm.
Mexico, there's always these made out of clay trolls
Yeah.
that were very popular to have. And my grandma loved collecting them, and some of them were
Hmm.
pretty creepy looking,
Yeah.
and
Wide mouths.
I was so sure that they were moving at night, and they were just doing a lot of mischief, or however you say it.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be really fun. I think we need a horror comedy, kind of like Leprechaun meets Chucky, like with Aluches, I think it'd be a
That would be
blast.
great. My mom used to
think
Elf
it'd be
on
a
the Shelf
blast.
the trolls, so she would move them all
Oh.
around, and I'm
Oh
I would
no.
not bring it up.
Right?
Just be like, I'm the only one
Ooh.
seeing this, clearly. Clearly
Those
been a
were
bad kid.
creepy. I think that'd be sick. I think that'd be so much fun.
It would be great.
Right?
Let's do it. What are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think and it's what's funny about it is there's so many and not funny, haha, but just like it's people are being more exposed to the global sect of everything that's going on. I mean, all of our content reaches, we can't get away from it now. It's all we have, audio content. And I don't want to say we're going to run out of content because,
Yeah.
people are still making things, but people are now, they're streaming, things from Mexico. They're streaming things from France. They're streaming like Italian horror and Japanese horror. And they're finally getting a grasp of globally in the genre, what is out there. And I think when you make small pieces and short films, you definitely, you have a really great way of just dropping us into the story and getting out as soon as possible and being like, what did I?
It's over. Oh, yeah.
what now? Which I think is excellent, and you and your team have done an excellent job on that. Is there any advice you'd give? Because a lot of us, especially a lot of the women in my collective, are either really great and have a great career. They're dealing with Netflix, they're dealing with Amazon, and then some of us are very green and just learning to collaborate with other people. What advice do you have about collaborating in this genre and trying to give everyone their fair share and where they belong in that?
No, for sure. We're already very lucky that this genre especially has the most passionate and greatest sense of community in the horror community. It really does have that. And I find that just giving back to other projects, they will give back to you. I've noticed even just genre festivals, it's such an easy way to get your stuff seen, even just script form for other people to read it and for everyone to start working together. It's really how I've met everybody I've worked with, has been through just the community and being part of something, taking part in online competitions. That's all I used to do. And that's how I've met everybody. And it's really made my journey quite clear as to who to work with, who to not. But it's always been watching other people's work. And I think, the more you continue to grow in the industry, you shouldn't forget where you came from. And the indie horror scene, to be even more specific, it's really small. It's really small, and it's but big enough to get to know everyone and see the different kind of voices that there are. And it's been really, really cool process to be able to bring back people that have not quite gotten their short seen or their script seen. Help them, like, if you can, and you think that project is good, send it around. That's what happened to me. Like, it out of nowhere, a friend was like, "Oh, I know Eli Roth, I'll send him your short." I'm like,
oh shit.
Thanks.
Like
Thanks. But it's just that sense of carnalism, of carnalitos, of being of being good to each other and supportive and encouraging each other is how everybody's going to get their fair share. But you got to work hard, because I know and we all see it, there's people that just want to go on that train so it's done for them. That's different. But if you're seeing that their work is good, they're working nonstop, people like that deserve just a little push. And like, after, I think I was at short number 15, and I come from a family that nobody's in film, so it was really hard it was tough. But luckily, thanks to friends you meet along the way at a festival or something like that, you never know who they know. So it's just important. Yeah, it's just important to stay humble and stay motivated, because it's a small enough community to be big, right? Like,
but it's what's so nice about it, even it's a small community. I mean, you've got Crypt TV, which is smaller. I mean, Robert Rodriguez, the El Rey network. You've got Shudder. It's blowing up. Like, Shudder was very, very, very small, very, very humble beginnings. People are like, "What's Shudder? Why would I care about this?"
I remember that.
And now it's like People are like, you don't have a Shudder subscription? Oh, it's on Shudder. It's like, oh,
That was
so
me this year during pandemic. I was like, wow, I'm not paying for Shudder. All
why
right.
not?
And I just like I think I was one of the last people
What
to
have I been doing with my life?
yeah.
But I think that's amazing for us to be such a small network of people, especially the indie horror
Yeah.
network of people. And that's always so supportive. Like you were saying, like give your project to this one, or people are willing to read and give you notes, or watch and give you notes on that, or hook you up. Oh, I used
Totally.
this DP here. Oh, I used this sound designer over here. They were really great for my film. They might want to. And it's this beautiful exchange of ideas, which is it's humbling and it's motivating at the same time, because you
Yeah.
you always know that there's someone that has your back, which is really, really cool.
And that's
That's
the thing.
excellent.
Like if you do it, you will get it back. Like
Yeah.
if you do it with a good heart, man, I spiritually I really believe in
Yeah.
that. And so for sure.
I think that's great. Yes. So I always ask this of anyone in the horror genre that I talk to, because when we pray on our watcher, our viewers and people who are reading our things, we want to horror, just when we talked about it earlier, like it's that one thing that travels with you, it stays with you, it follows you home. What mundane thing in this world scares you the most?
Ooh,
Run of the mill, shouldn't be scary, but you're just
man,
like, I can't.
I can't. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess it's not fair to say people scare me, but definitely
That's fine. I'll
uh
allow it.
but there are some random ass things that just creep the hell out of me.
Hmm.
That absolutely just give me the creeps. Like if I ever see a child staring at me, it like I do that
What are you
face
looking
of
at, kid?
yeah, like whenever, I've babysat, kids love me. Like I'm that funny person they like
Hmm.
around, but I've always been not okay when like a baby or a toddler or child have
It's just
deadpans, like just like a deadpan. Sorry, like it's an actual thing. Like it creeps the
terrifying.
terrifying. They're just like staring.
What do you want?
Yeah, and I'm a really awkward, quirky person. I right away go, huh? Like
Like
I
it's
will do
okay.
faces right away, and if there's still like I I can't do it. I can't do it. That and porcelain dolls. I can't.
No, I cannot do
Oh,
dolls. I cannot do ventriloquist dummies. Can't. My
oh
friend's
really?
mother used to have a whole room of like
Ooh, that
dolls
that was
and like four
that was
foot
my grandma.
ceramic
Yeah,
dolls. I'm like,
can't. Like
can't
I
do it.
will need another pair of pants because no, no, no.
Not gonna
And
take it.
because yeah, my grandma on my dad's side, may she rest in peace, but she had a whole room of just porcelain dolls,
Yeah,
and
my
every
friend's
year
mother.
she would give my sister and I porcelain dolls when we would beg, no, no,
Please
grandma,
don't do
I
that.
don't want it. Until one year she's like, well, this year is different. And it was a giant, massive one, like that actually literally would do the whole mama like that. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
snap.
gosh.
In the garbage.
Oh yeah, and the big curly golden hair, big blue eyes, and beautiful blue dress. I was like, oh hell no. So we put that in the closet. And my sister, God bless her, she thought this is the perfect way to get back at Gigi. And it worked for sure. Like she took it out of the closet, and the pranks she would do on me as a
Love
child.
it.
That's why I'm all messed up. It's because of that. So
Right? That's why Chucky got you, man. You're
yeah,
like, I can't mess with it.
well, exactly. I thought Chucky was real. Could only imagine how that porcelain doll ruined my childhood.
Oh my
So,
God, I can't. Me, it's like little tears in like screens.
oh,
Because I'm like, what could possibly get in there? I've seen too many
yeah,
monsters with too many.
yeah. I mean, I have a big imagination too. Like I'll scare
Yeah,
myself. Like I will tell
every
myself,
day.
oh, okay, there's a ghost here. Or coming out of the shower, everything's steamy in the mirror. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna wipe it. Like things like
Right.
that. That I'm like, someone's
Not gonna close the
definitely
cabinet.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I will do things like that. I will do
Yeah.
random things that I think are happening.
My sister will close the
So
medicine cabinet like this and then just turn. Like she won't close the medicine cabinet so the mirror's there. She
I
just
like her. I'm gonna
just
do the
just
same.
takes off
Yeah.
like forever. But whatever, it happens. You got to get through the night, man, I guess.
You do.
What is my last question for you? And thank you again so much for spending time with me today.
Of
This was excellent. It
course.
was a ton of fun. It's always wonderful to talk to another Latina, so it's
Awesome.
fantastic for me. Reboots, because we were talking about reboots the other day, a couple of
Right.
friends of mine, and there's so many that are, John Carpenter's bringing a sequel to The Thing. We're seeing more, just reboots in general. Like Clue is being rebooted. Just it's original ideas to be damned, I guess, right now.
I know.
But if you had to reboot any horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh my gosh. Well, definitely the one I'm wearing, Gremlins.
Yeah.
If I could do that one again, like, or a reimagining of it, like, I love
That'd be
puppets.
amazing.
I love puppets so much. Definitely that one's been in the back of my head forever. I'm like, someone needs to do it.
That would
And
be awesome.
and I'm a big fan of an old Mexican horror movie called Santa Sangre. And it's creepy. It's creepy, weird. Takes place at a circus freak kind of place, and
Yes.
it's incredible. Like it's an older film. Definitely very experimental and weird. But I was like,
it.
if this was remade Santa Sangre now or
Mhm.
rebooted or something, I think it'd be a hit. Like I think it'd be super cool. So I'd love to do that.
Yay! See?
Yeah.
I love it. Everyone's got a great answer. I would love to do Creature of the Black Lagoon again.
Ooh,
I would love to do that
that's
one.
a good one.
I'm a big man in suit monster fan, so practical effects is my jam.
I love that.
But that's
sorry, I was very close to be like, yes, men in suits. But
yes, men in suits.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I had today for you. So
thank you so much.
I think that's great. I'm so excited for all the other things that you're going to do. I just want everything to just be so incredibly expansive for you.
Thank you.
I'm just looking forward to more content from you. So I appreciate you being with me today.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for inviting me. It's always for me, always cool to meet another fellow Latina.
Yay!
So it was so nice. This was so much fun.
But I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for your time, and hope to see more from you really, really soon.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thanks so much.
Be safe.
Take care. Bye.